Okay, folks, good morning. I think everything is working all right. Let's turn that off just to make sure. And let's follow along here. My phone charger is currently not here, but I'm at 96%, so I should be okay. And I'll watch a commercial, not of my choosing. Okay. All right. Good morning, Ben. So, I've been talking about making a ramp for a long time. I saw somebody did it with a door stopper. They use really a door stopper like this, just a small one. And I saw this huge thing, and I think this would be more appropriate. That doesn't mean I'm not going to build one of these, but I'm going to go ahead and use the big one first. So that's what we're going to work on this morning. We'll see how it goes. I have some ideas, so. All right, this is going to be our work area. This is a relatively expensive doorstop. I mean, it was like $7 or something like that, but it doesn't flex much at all. And it's like the perfect shape, so. And it has like a base already on it, so. We're going to put all the stuff on it, and then we'll spray it black, and then we'll worry about all the other stuff. So we have a Gaslands game coming up this evening, and I should have this done to do it, to use it for that. I don't know how it's going to work because the rules for it are kind of screwy. It's not how I would have designed it, but if we don't like how it works, then we will play our own way. All right, so we've got these little ribs for extra traction. We want to remove those. And I got a cool tool that that the wife got me for Christmas, and we will see if we can use that. I don't think I'm going to be able to use it for that, but it's like a what is it? It's considered an engraving pen. So it's got a lot of bits. I think I can use it for things other than engraving. I don't have that much of a use for engraving, but it is handheld, it's battery charged, and it has 3, 2, 1 speed levels. So the 1 speed is probably where we're going to be at. But before I get into that, I do want to try something because I have something kind of coming up. Let me find, where are my Americans at? I've been wanting to do this all week and I haven't had a moment to sit down. I'm going to make Marcus lose his fucking mind here in a second. Sorry, Marcus. All right, we have this 3D printer makes some really good stuff. But there's some lines on it. And I have a feeling all these bits are going to be a little too abrasive. But let me grab one that looks kind of flat. Okay, here's the charger for it. This should work with, if they were smart, you could use Dremel bits with it, but they probably weren't smart. Because that just attaches like that. May be able to smooth some of those lines off that. Okay. And no, I'm not going to repaint it. Ah! I just wanted to see how it worked. I was hoping it would work on other things, and then we could like use it to like, remove, say, parts of graphics on a Hot Wheels or something like that we didn't want. Okay. Let's put him with the Americans. Okay. We'll see if we can mess with that a little bit later. But this is rubber, so I don't think so. I asked her, how much did you pay for this? I said, no, I got it really cheap. I said, okay. Don't buy me stuff I don't need. I don't like having stuff that I don't need. But probably find a use for that. I like that it has a really low speed. I wish it was even lower, but okay. So let's proceed taking off these nibs. What'd you call me? Nothing. And this is, I guess this is rubber. This stuff comes off pretty easy. You been doing any naval stuff, Ben, or not really? I forgot if you got your ships in already. I think you have some ships. You only got one local player to play with, right? The Horde of the Things guy. I had two guys that I know in person that I used to, when I went up to Pennsylvania, I would run into them and we'd play. Let me lose this for now. We're not doing anything dangerous on here. And I had a communication with them this week. They reached out to me and we talked about other unrelated things to DBA. And neither one of them were aware that I don't do DBA anymore. So, I mean, I'm like, I guess some people just aren't with it. One of them, and yes, they're older than I am. I don't know if that difference it makes, but one of them's retired. If you're retired, you got no excuse to not be paying attention. What are you doing all day, Not playing, just basing the Japanese now. Yeah, I asked on the naval group to see if somebody made like those pre-dreadnoughts in 1/6000, because that's really the scale, and I've talked about it before. That's really the scale that if I was going to get back into it, that's the scale I would do, because it's more in line with the game scale. It's never 1-to-1. It's still 3 times bigger than the game scale. There's the game scale of Seekrieg is an inch equals 500 yards. So that means an inch is 1,500 feet, which means, HMS Dreadnought would be 1/3 of an inch long in actual scale. So they're still probably 2 to 3 times bigger than they should be, which is really close to the correct scale. I mean, that's pretty close. But, in a 2-minute turn, which is what it is, you'll have something that travels 16 knots will move like this far. I think that's about right. 5 inches is like maybe it's like that far. So things actually move. It's not like it's Harpoon where, I remember the first time I played Harpoon, it's like 1 inch equals a nautical mile, and I don't know how long the turns were, but, it was like you could do a 360, but you only move like 1/3 of an inch or something like that. But you're using 1/2400 scale models. I'm like, well, that's not worth playing. But there seems to be a lack of models for pre-dreadnoughts in 1/6000. Now, with that said, I never understood how people that have too many things forget what they have. But I've reached that point myself. And I have a set of the 1/6000 scale from Figurehead, Hallmark, whichever one of the two it is. It might be both. Figurehead, Walmart. I'm trying to do a good job at this, so we're taking longer with this than we probably should. But with this being rubber, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this to it. Sand it. It's going to get furry. I guess I should try it on the bottom and see if it's an issue. No, I guess it's a different enough compound that... All right, cool. Well, that's what we'll do. We want to look worn, but I wouldn't mind having a couple tracks, but really raised stuff, not really interested in. But I actually have a set of the Russians and the Turks for the Black Sea in World War One. And I've only painted Gobin. But I didn't put it on that stupid water stand. Because Hallmark gives you those stupid little water stands. And their destroyers are permanently stuck on them. Which means that the crests are actually like taller than the freeboard of the ship. I was listening to the We Have Ways podcast series on the Hood and Bismarck. It was pretty interesting. Did you learn something new? I didn't know that that was a subject that there is definitely some butthurt over. You know, you got the people that, you know, the British sank the Bismarck, and then the people that are like, no, the British didn't sink it at all. It, you know, it was scuttled, and man, there's people that just are dying to die on hills. I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't have a dog in that fight. Can you still say that even though none of us want to do dog fighting? And we still call it dog fighting when you're in midair. I don't think your dog would be a good dog fighter. But he's kind of little, isn't he? Chip? Is that what his name is? Chip or Champ or something? You never really knew much about it. We played it the last time we played it, it turned out exactly like it happened in real life, and we're like, okay, we're done. Like, literally, like, Hood went and turned, got a magazine explosion. Like, what's Secret for? Like, we're done. And that's just luck of the Irish for that to happen. Or, you know, if you're German, it's luck of the Irish. But usually that matchup should be pretty heavily against the Germans. You know, and I mentioned it before, you know, if you're creating a naval system, right, for trying to do, this reminds me of Parmesan, you know, not the kind that comes powdered, the one that, if you're making a naval system and you want to simulate the battle with a Hood and the Bismarck, do you make the chances of the Hood more likely to blow up because it happened historically? Or is that just a fluke, like somebody just happened to roll 201s in a row kind of thing? Like, you know, how do you go with it? My initial reaction would not be to force things that happen historically to be the norm. That just seems weird. Now, with that said, I mean, it had some deficiencies in that ship where maybe that was more likely to happen, but regardless, I remember when I was a kid, and you know, there's many theories that have been floated since then, and I couldn't even tell you what they are now, because things have changed in the last 30 or 40 years. But when I was a kid, there was people that were pushing a narrative, or a narrative I heard was that it was actually Prince Eugen that sank the Hood. And if that's the case, then Bismarck didn't do a fucking thing. Because Bismarck didn't shoot down any aircraft, didn't sink any of the destroyers that attacked her at night, put some hits on Prince of Wales and probably put some hits on Hood. But if the blow up round was done by Prince Eugen and not Bismarck, then Bismarck didn't really get any of the glory other than, going down. Best scenario for it is like, yeah, we scuttled our own ship, Okay, just like in 1919, except it was only one ship, right? So I don't really have a dog in the fight. But that was one thing that was being floated at the time. And that was before they discovered it. So I don't know if there was, that's like been discounted that it couldn't be. The crew on the Bismarck was brand new, but so was the crew on the Prinz Eugen. The Prinz Eugen was a brand new ship too. I had a model of the Hood, and we used to use it a lot, but not necessarily for that battle because she was in the Mediterranean. She was the first flagship of Force H with Somerville. And she's a hell of a lot more powerful than Renown, which was the go-to one. Great, I'm going to be looking. I've been raiding the pantry for... Okay, this is going to be tricky. I was hoping this wasn't going to be the case. I don't know if I have one of those blades. The ones the scrapers. I don't know. I've got one of those things. I don't know if I have a blade for it. This does not need to be perfect because I'm probably going to rough up this surface anyways. Never seen Snoopy versus the Red Baron. Then again, Snoopy came off the wrong most of their times on the pot. Huh? Snoopy Red Baron. On the podcast, they were on about the torpedoes on the Hood, and that was likely what cooked off. Yeah, I've heard it was the... here's the problem with using Sea Creek 4, okay? Sea Creek 4 shows the Hood as she was built. It doesn't have any modifications. And I think before the war, might have been 39, might have been 40, her secondary armament was 5.5 inch guns. And those were removed, because they weren't going to hit anything. And they decided to put a dual purpose 4-inch gun armament on it. The same 4-inch guns same style of 4-inch guns that are doubles. There are most modern British cruisers at the time. So you can't use it. I think Sea Creek shows the torpedoes. Sea Creek 2 says the torpedoes are gone. So I don't know. I believe it had those big torpedoes like the Rodney had. What the fuck is this all about? Why is this all scratched up? Yeah, it's not. It's really not a problem. I mean, only thing is I want to rough this up when I want to rough it up, not when it roughs up on its own. Yeah, Rodney had 24.5-inch torpedoes. Ridiculous. I think 1 or 2 on each side of midships. And I think Hood was built the same way. Rodney was built in 23. Hood was built in 20, so... I don't know why they kept doing that whole torpedo thing. I don't believe any World War I battleships fired torpedoes at each other. I mean, they had them, but you got to get really close. And you can't really fire a spread when you have 2. Yeah, a spread isn't 2. I fired a spread of 2 torpedoes. No, you fired 1, and then you fired another one. Or you fired 1 over here, and you fired another one over there. One torpedo is 1 torpedo. 2 torpedoes is a pair. 3, I guess you could have a spread with 3. It's the minimum of a group, But yeah, you have something like a torpedo that goes off inside your own ship. That's a problem. That is a problem. Yeah, so the rules for this are weird. They're and and I'm ad-libbing here, I believe you need to be at least in third gear to make the jump. And when you make the jump, it's a long straight off the back. Like, the game doesn't allow anybody to be in the middle of the ramp. You either touch it and then you immediately like get launched off the back, or that's it, you know. So there's nobody that stops like here. I don't know why they decided not to do that. You could have easily done it, you know, put some stick-em on here, but we're just going to play it the way the rules say. And if we don't like it, we'll change it on the next game. But it is abstract. They almost removed those torpedo tubes, but kept them for long-range torpedoes, but didn't actually put any on the hood. I've never heard of that. We have Ways podcast. Is it just audio? I hate to sound like a snob, but I just wouldn't watch something that had audio, just audio only. Well, and here's the reason why. If I'm searching for a podcast to listen to, how am I going to get tempted by something that has no visuals? Once it's playing, I'm fine. But just like, how do you pick that one? You know? Like, you watch something else, you're like, oh, okay, well, I want to see that because, it's got pretty people on it or something. Or, maybe he's got some good visuals about troops or something like that. And you get tempted to that. Like, I'd watch, I listen to Dan Carlin. Dan Carlin's got no visuals, but I've listened to him before. It's getting that initial listen. Like, how do you get people to, unless it's recommended to you or something. Now, I know I didn't cut myself because I can't really cut myself there. Now we got blood on this thing. What's the other thing that we have blood on? A Crusader. We have a Crusader from S Model that we have blood on. Oh, okay, you sent me the thing. Okay. Oh, it's on YouTube. And let me listen to it, look at it, advertising of not my choosing. Okay, so it's not really a podcast, it's a channel. Yeah, I would watch this. Yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy between that. Like, it's not really this controversy. There's a lot of people that, I don't have a problem with controversy. I have a problem with people that are willing to die on hills. It's like, look, wouldn't you want to know what the truth is? But you're like, no, it's got to be this way. And the British Navy saying it. Look, whether or not she got scuttled, the British Navy beat the fuck out of it, and it was going to go down anyways. So, play it however you want to, Wasn't like the British Navy didn't do their job. They beat the shit out of it. Like, it wasn't going to go anywhere. It was done. I find it hard to believe that the torpedoes didn't do it in, though. I'm talking, obviously, about the Bismarck. With the warships, you got two things. You got this hull or whatever that you have to keep the sea from coming in and sinking you, right? If the sea comes in, you go down. But you're carrying ammunition, and if something that detonates, then it's the opposite. You go out. So that's infinitely more dangerous because a magazine explosion, like, you're fucked. I mean, like, it's over, right? Like, I don't know how many people would have survived the hood anyways. Maybe a few more, but I mean, you're toast. They only had 3 survivors, and one guy was right by the explosion, so he must have been thrown. You got to be like somewhere that. How do you hear again after that? I mean, that's got to be like the loudest thing that ever. But you take some place like Jutland, and Jutland, there was how many ships that went by magazine explosions? Queen Mary, Invincible. I'm just talking about capital ships. Yeah, and they're all British. Queen Mary, Invincible. God, I want to say there's a third one. Invincible blew up, and Jutland is so shallow that if you stood the ship on end, which it's 520 feet long, something like that, it would stick out of the water 100 feet. It's only like a couple hundred feet deep there at the most, which is crazy, because it's like in the middle of the North Sea. It's just up on a bank, So, what was the third one? Lion in a row. Lion, Princess Royal, Queen Mary, and then the two in the back. They didn't blow up. Lion didn't blow up. Lion almost blew up. Some guy flooded the magazines and died in the process. Got a Victoria Cross. Princess Royal was okay. The Lion got the crap beat out of her. Kind of like Seydlitz. Seydlitz got the crap beat out of her too. The opposite flagship of the cruisers. Of the battle cruisers for the Germans. What was the third one? It wasn't a battleship. Really, the British battleships didn't get beat up much other than the Queen Elizabeths, and mainly Warspite. Crusader and a German vehicle too. The Blutwagen. Yeah. I don't understand the whole Patreon thing. I don't want to get into that. It's more trouble than it's worth. Bad enough when I'm trying to keep things simple and you have issues like I ran into with the music. It's like, man, I don't need turmoil in my hobby when I'm doing videos for you guys. Well, I'm doing them for me too, but... Alright, we got this part that's difficult to reach. We'll get there. Luckily, I don't have to do like 20 of these, and I'm learning on this first one. Yeah, I don't know that I really cut myself. I might have just been... Man, everything's so damn dry compared to how it normally is. And I'm almost done with the cold. As soon as I say that, I'm going to bring the cold back. But the problem with the cold is you go anywhere and candy asses have the heater going. And the heater's brutal. It dries everything out. Makes me feel like I'm sick. It's not. Nope, not that one. No, sir. So the problem that I have with people that are super opinionated, I mean, I'm super opinionated about things. Like, I don't want to play some half-ass World War II game. But at the same time, I don't need to make everybody feel like you're a piece of shit for not playing my game, right? Or my level of detail. But there's people out there that are just like, they're just on that. Like, and that's not how you convert people over. You don't convert people over by saying you suck. Well, maybe it works for some people, but I'm going to tell you it probably doesn't work for most. I was doing this hobby thing. Let me see if I can find my scraper. I'll be able to get to that a little easier. I was doing this hobby Zoom call, and You know, it was going okay. I was enjoying it, some of it. And they had this one on there who got, one guy that got on there who literally, I'd say he's a fucking prick. That's no other better way to say it. And he basically said I was an idiot for not using enamels. And I just kept my mouth shut. I said, well, you're a fucking idiot for using them. You know, use whatever you want, but I don't know how long he'd been modeling, but I have a guess. He's not much. He's close to my age. I'm pretty close. I'm pretty sure that I got a lot more experience painting than he does. I'm going on a limb on that one. And I was using enamels for the base coat, and it's digging into it a little bit, but it'll be fine. If we're going to rough up the surface anyways. I was using base coat and clear coat and enamels until my source, they decided to stop making that stuff. So I had to go find something else. But that's not how you get people on your side, like saying, I want you to play DBA. Oh, by the way, everything else sucks. Like, maybe people enjoy it, you know? I don't have a problem with people still play DBA. I'm tired of putting my life on hold for it. Okay, this is working really well as a secondary measure. And it's not like this needs to be smooth. It just can't have these ribs on there like a roller coaster. I'm sure you guys have run into people like that. Somebody wants to play Warhammer, like everything else is Warhammer. Well, it's not Games Workshop sanctioned. It's a piece of shit. Okay, I decided not to go to the model show in Jacksonville. I don't need more shit. I also don't need it to consume my entire day. Now the nice thing about this, what I liked about this, is there's a little bit of a base here. So you can add stuff to the side here, and it's not, like, it's kind of on a base, so to speak. I don't know how well the primer is going to work today because it's pretty fucking cold in the garage. It's like, yeah, don't ask me what it is in centigrade. Napoleon didn't come here. I like the metric system. I don't like the metric temperature. It's hard to visualize. But it's outside. It's probably close to freezing. I mean, the garage isn't that cold, but where's the temperature? Oh, it's a warm day today. It's 44. All right. And we're going to add some junk to the side here to make this look. But the way this works is, you got to be in third gear. Again, I'm ad-libbing it, so if I get some of the details wrong, I get some of the details wrong, right? I've only read it one time, or a couple times. You got to be going in third gear, and as soon as you touch this, I think you immediately do the jump. If you're in third gear, you do like a long move off the back. So I believe it's a long move. I should probably just look it up instead of like trying to pass off wrong information, which is not my not my purpose. See, can you do a search on here? I believe you can. Can I do a search for ramp? Ramps. Okay, it's a little bit different than I remember it. I guess I didn't read it all the way through. Ramps. Agree which terrain systems count as a ramp. Okay. With your fellow players before the game. Nominate an entry edge for the ramp. Okay, which is this one, which is the bit of the ramp you drive up onto. If a vehicle's movement template or final position overlaps any edge other than the entry edge. Yeah, this is where it's fucked up. And people have a problem understanding this. I've read on some of the news groups. If the vehicle's movement template or final position overlaps any edge other than the entry edge. So this is the entry edge. So if it overlaps here, they stop at the edge of the ramp and roll a d6. If the die roll is equal to or under the vehicle's current gear, make a jump, else make a tumble. So it sounds like they're being extremely liberal. Probably shouldn't use the word liberal. Extremely accommodating, okay? Extremely accommodating. So you can apparently make the jump even if you don't come on this edge. Okay. We're not doing that. That's stupid. You're in a collision. If you don't overlap this edge here, you're going to collide with this thing, and then you're going to suffer damage like a wall. Anything else doesn't make any sense. Okay? The jump. The vehicle stops at the edge of the ramp and then makes an immediately forced medium straight directly forward if it's in gear 1 through 4, or long straight forwards if in current gear 4 or 6, during which ignores all terrain and other vehicles. This movement causes a collision window. This vehicle then gains 2 hazard tokens and an audience vote. Maybe we should test it the way the rules are written. I don't like to automatically change things. I guess I read something else where if you weren't in first, or if you weren't going at least gear 3, you'd move a short off the back and crash. Like basically, you didn't have enough momentum to go off. But anyways, what's going to happen is you don't ever stop here. So what's going to happen is you have this area between here and, well, maybe, yeah, between say this area of this cardboard that's not in play if you make the ramp. So immediately you show up here, and if you make the jump successfully, the next thing you know, you're all the way the fuck here. So you got to be careful where you put it, or you end up going through too much space. So we got to put it in a way that if you make the jump, now you're going to be screwed because you're going to have to make it immediately left or immediate right. Not immediately, but you can't just put it on a straightaway where somebody just get away from everybody. So we'll see. We'll see. And if there's enough of us experienced people that are playing today that we'll be able to make a judgment call. I mean, Mitch hasn't read the rules. He has a set of rules there that I left for him, but he doesn't read it. But he's played about as many times as I have. And he's sharp. I mean, he doesn't read books, but he's not stupid, he has a lot of experience playing games like for play balance and stuff like that. So, and he doesn't really have an agenda. Like, well, we got to make it so this is, so we'll be able to figure it out. And we're already making our own. We're already making our own rules the way that who goes next. But I googled 44F, thinking Google would auto convert it, but it brought me very different yet pleasant hits instead. Man, those are large. F. Oh, man. I had a kind of surprising experience last weekend that many of you might be able to relate to. I went to a theme park, and I know I need to lose some weight, but I'm not that heavy. Just all my weight's here. It's, no metabolism. Guys can talk about weight because we don't fucking care, It's all about metabolism. I don't eat that poorly. I don't exercise enough, and I don't have metabolism anymore. But I almost didn't get on the ride. I almost wasn't able to get on the ride. Like, literally, it was like they had to push down and get one click. I'm like, I gotta do something because I'm not gonna not go to theme parks. I'm not that fucking big. I mean, I saw some people that aren't riding any rides. They wouldn't even be able to take the train. It also didn't help that I was wearing a jacket because it was like freaking 32 degrees. It was freaking cold. It was so cold that a lot of rides weren't working. And they get below freezing and they won't do them because the stuff isn't moving, not lubricated well enough, And wind too. I'm like, man, why are they shutting this down when it's over 20-mile-an-hour wind? And I started thinking about it, man. A lot of this stuff works on momentum. And if you don't have enough momentum because of extra drag because of the wind, yeah, you don't want to shut the whole damn ride down for, 6 hours because they need to get somebody out there to get people off of the ride, All right, I think this is good enough. Now, let's see if this does any good. I suspect it won't. For this. I don't like this piece of tape already. Go away. Nope. No, that's not going to do it. Actually, this does really nicely to take this stuff off. Okay, that's enough. We'll wake somebody up. Okay, that's pretty good. And then we're still going to go over it with this to get any little burrs off of it. And we're good with leaving this alone. We don't need to add anything else to it. We don't need to add an asphalt. I thought about putting a cover on it, covering on it, make it look like asphalt. But the problem with that is it's going to dry. It's going to take forever to dry. Being as cold as it is, it's relatively moist. Ooh, there's that word. And and it's in a material that doesn't absorb anything. All right, I'm going to go ahead before I get further along. Instead of use alcohol, I'm going to use hand sanitizer. If there's any kind of rubberage on this, we're not going to paint it immediately, but yeah, that should work good enough. I mean, this thing's fucking solid. Okay. Now, what are we going to put on this thing? Well, first of all, it's going to have a name. And for right now, the temporary name for it is going to be the Big Send. So, all right, let me get my wooden pieces. Because this needs to look a little bit more, what's the name of that game? Oh, it's not here anymore. I moved it. I pulled a fast one on myself. Borderlands. Needs to look a little bit more Borderlands. Let's, where's the cutting board at? Something a little bit. This is good for painting, but it's not great for cutting because it gives too much. So we have different things. Cutting board that actually cut on, I know. I don't know how I can live with myself, but I bought this $4 thing with the intention of destroying it, unfortunately. All right, let's see what we got here in the department. That's odd. There's only one. Oh, because the other epoxy's there. Must be a troublemaker here. Let's put my glasses on so I can see. I want to put stuff on the side here, but I don't want to make it too big because it's going to have to glue onto this. And my first thought is use hot glue, and it's probably what I'm going to do, because if it doesn't work out well, you can just peel it off and start over. It's no harm, no foul. Very user friendly, and you basically can work on it. You get immediate results and keep moving forward. Super glue is not going to bind to this worth a damn. Epoxy probably will work. I don't know that it'll work any better. You go get another stick of glue. I don't think I moved them. So they should be here. Yeah, see, if I did 1/6000 scale chips, this is what I base them on. Popsicle sticks. I base them round on the front and then cut them off flush. And that's what I base my 1/6000 chips on. I've got some. Ooh, this might keep coming in handy. 1/6000 scale chips for modern. On a whim. I gotta find out where I left the glue sticks at. It's always something. They're right here. I just got too much stuff. useful. Well, it was here. Let's see. They should be in here. And there they are. I just didn't remember putting them in there. Okay, well that looks like wood. So, one thing I want to do is, and I thought I had gotten rid of it, but not all cardboard is created equally. And I believe this one will do the trick. Because a lot of it has side view is you've got that looks like corrugated metal, right? So you can remove this top layer. It's easier than you think. Look, we're already peeling it off. And then give it a little bit of a sandpaper treatment and bam, you got corrugated metal, right? But some of them have a tighter pattern, you know, it's more condensed than others. That one's kind of big, so I'd be good like for like 28 millimeter. I mean, it would work here, but I'd like to use a tighter pattern. I believe this will do that. So we're going to take, I had a vodka package that I had let's cut off a little bit. That it was for, what's the Dutch vodka? Not that it really matters which one it is, but I can't fucking think. Anyway, somebody gifted me, and I kept the box. So I'm like, man, that looks like it'd be really good for corrugated. I don't know, maybe I threw it away with the recyclers, or you know, recycled it, what have you. Okay, so we're just going to peel this top layer. It's not that much tighter. Honestly, it's kind of too big, but I think we can make it work. I don't need to cover the whole thing. I just want to look like it's, you know, kind of haphazardish. Okay, so we'll start with this. We won't need this little piece at all. This is just about using junk. And the hot glue gun makes everything awesome because you literally can glue it and move forward. Not like, okay, let's wait for the PVA to dry. Like, you know, ain't nobody got time for that. We did something recently with this. Oh yeah, the little corrugated door on the bar, on the cantina. But that I used the tighter pattern one. This will work. I don't know if I can get away with doing the back side also. Start getting pretty weak if I remove both sides of it, but no, let's not do that. We just won't have any of it come up. You know, like if you had like part of it come up over the sides, you know, pretty much every vehicle I have will fit on here anyways. But I don't really want something that looks like, you know, you're going through the eye of a needle and here comes like a, you know, something really, really big. It would look odd. So we're not going to mess anything till about here. We can put some verticals. And I think this size actually will work just fine. And this is not the size I use for the nameplates on the figures. So that's good. Not that I can't buy that again, but let's put our glasses back on. I don't necessarily want them all the same size, but this isn't the nameplate size. This is too thin. Okay, so at least we need this thickness on the bottom. Let's put these where we want them, and then we'll put the corrugated stuff in between them if we need to. Okay, so this isn't science, but let's get a pencil. This does not need to be an OSHA approved looking thing. So we're gonna, right? Is this the size that I want to use before I can't really go thicker than this because I don't want it to be sticking out past this. And if it works here, it'll definitely work here. We could always use bigger ones here, but we at least want to do 1, 2, say 3 sets. And we'll have them telescoping big. All right. So if we start the first one about here, ooh, that rides well on that. Okay. And do the next one about here, and then do the next one about here, then we can go bigger. All right. So I think I'd like to have sides on it to like here. So I'm going to cut 2 of this size and then work my way down. And it doesn't have to be perfect. One for the other side as well. What we do want is they want the bottom of this to be flush. As flush as you can get it. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same size. It's put together by a bunch of criminals anyways. And they're just thinking about the next person they're going to rape. Okay? So there's 2 of these. Oh. Got so many different sizes here. Okay, that's the bigger one we're going to use. That's the one for the nameplate. Like, there's no point using wood that we already have purpose for. This is the size we should be using. Because this is the nameplate size, so it's smaller, right? So we don't have a use for this one. Building a ramp, yep. My Bacchus minis are finally arriving today. Do you use this informed delivery USPS has? If you're going to give me a choice of delivery systems, I'm never going to choose the Postal Service. Because they have too many fucking days off, you know? And you always hear about postal workers that go postal. I mean, that's why it's called that. But really, the people that should be going postal are people that are waiting in line at the post office. Because those motherfuckers they move, DMV gives them a good run for the money. Is this the same one? Yeah, and I don't have something that I'm committed to use this size for. What I hate is when you get something from the post office. Well, we tried to deliver it at 2, but you weren't here. Yeah, I'm at fucking work paying taxes so you can get paid. And then they'll tell you got to come back to the post office to do it. Well, you can't go that day. By the time you get it, that post office is closed. So then you go the next day with that little slip. And they said, no, we tried to deliver it again. I'm like, well, why did you leave me this message that said you know, it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and on. So I hate the Postal Service. It puts me in a bad mood. I don't get to do shit like that at work and be sorry. I don't get to be sorry at work. I think I used this one and I didn't have anything more other than that one stick of it. This is the size that I wanted. That seemed to work well. It's totally not important other than the fact that I don't want it to stick out into the rest of the field. Yeah, we're going to do a ramp. We're supposed to play tonight, and they don't know I'm adding a ramp. They would if they watch my channel, but none of the people that actually get to play with me watch my channel. I think Marty's watched a couple times, but the people that watch my channel I don't get the game with, and the people I game with don't watch my channel. I think here's another piece. I don't need that much wood, so I just figured let's just throw some up here that are possibilities. Then we can actually look at it. All right, one of these felt, this is the size I use for my names on my figures. Let's not use that. Because then I have to replace it. And this is that same size. Okay, this is stuff for the back that has a little bit more space. The two that we cut are this. This is the same thing. Okay, that's good. And this is the same thing. Okay. I think that's all we have of that material. Well, it should be enough. Two of those. Then we're going to come down. Let's see if let's split this in half. Let's cut this flush, split it in half, and we'll use this for the shortest one. That should work. Yeah. Or sew in half. Like I said, it's built by criminals. You know, I could just use it like this. I just want to be creative, make it look, you know, like it's junkyardy-ish. Okay, and then this one we're going to have to split it in two. So supposedly 5. Supposedly. And yes, I'm going to attempt to film it, but not live. And, you know, not professionally. You know, I do a shitty job of filming things, I'll admit. It's okay. It's not what I do for a living. I wish I could do better. I just don't think it's worth my time. Right? Like, I think one thing that's worth my time is trying to paint these things as good as I can. Like, let me focus on that. Let's split this in half. Okay. Now, using a hot glue gun, I don't know how it's going to stick. But I know it's very forgiving, and we need that. We need forgiveness. And again, if it's ramshackle looking a little bit, perfect. That's kind of what we're going for. This is what I call developing some new skills. Like, let's just do shit and see how it turns out. They'll say there are no wrong answers. Well, there are, but this isn't one of them. Okay. You can't do this with epoxy. You get sticky shit all over you. You know, this is forgiving. I think this is, I mean, you're not going to put any cars on this anyways. So we got this. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, I mean, no cars really stop on this, but if they would, they'd fit, you know. So supposedly, we have, it'll be 5 of us total, supposedly. I haven't met one person. We'll see how that works out. Maybe I'll like them. I hope I like them better than everybody else. That's a good problem to have. I got a coworker of mine an ex-coworker of mine that I really want to get into. I think he would enjoy this a lot. Who knows? He's not a gamer, but he has a really good attitude though. So even a better attitude than Mitch, I'd say. He's super fucking positive. So, and he's a car guy. He's into cars. So at some point in the future, I'd like to get him involved in it. I'm not dying to play today, but I know that if I don't play every couple weeks, I'm going to get rusty. I'm going to get rusty real quick. It doesn't matter. It's just, you know. All right. All right. And yeah, we're probably going to put something across it like a rail, you know, because there has to be some kind of safety, you know. Okay, and then we've got this corrugated stuff to put in between them, right, if we need to. And other pieces of wood and shit like that. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this ramp is made out of. It's probably made of trash. Compacted trash. Alright, so what I envision here is we'll go taller and we'll have a sign for what the fuck this is, right? Because this is going to have a name. It already has a name, so. I'd heard, I don't think I saw pictures of somebody, but I'd heard of somebody using door stoppers, and I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. So I went to my favorite store with the people that aren't well, and picked up, this is the size I was originally going to use. But when I saw this, I'm like, this is relatively expensive. It's like $7 for this, you know, instead of like 2. So I've got other ramps, but we're just going to work on one today. I just don't know where to put it. I think I need to put it between the first and the second turn, before the weapons are activated. I think we need to do that. I think that's where it should go. All right, so this next one, now that we've got more base area here, we're going to make this one thicker. Now, something like this would probably be fine. And just to keep things easy, I'm going to split this in 2. More or less. This doesn't have to be precise. What's the name? Well, right now it's going to be, I used ChatGPT. Shit, why don't I read you the names that it gave me? Okay? And see what you like. Doesn't mean we're going to go with it, but, you know. Let's go to ChatGPT, since you're a ChatGPT fan. And I am to a degree. I think you need to have a brain. Not let it decide everything for you. No, the problem is when you do chat, and I don't have it on the app. Okay, this one. Yeah. My wife uses this a lot, so I got to go down. Ramp name suggestions. Okay. All right. Oh, Gaslands ramps deserve ridiculous names. Here are some fun options grouped by vibe. Mix and match if you want something even louder. The Widowmaker. Not for a ramp. Gravebound Glide. Nope. The Bonebreaker. Nope. No Refunds ramp. Nope. Last Will and Launch. Interesting. Terminal Velocity. Uh, that was high impact chaotic. Mad Max style grit. Then we have Fury Rise. The Rust Ascender. Interesting. Sounds like a weapon or something like that. Which I am going to make turrets at some point. By the way, I don't know if we're going to play on the dirt or if the problem with playing on the dirt is I got to bring the palm trees, and I don't want to bring the palm trees because it's a lot of carrying. Not that it can't be done, but it's a pain in the ass, especially since we're going to be done around midnight probably. But otherwise, we're constrained by a 4x4 area, so we'll know by the time I get around to doing that. All right, Mad Max style grit, Fury Rise, the Rust Ascender, Scavenger's Leap, the Scrap Catapult, Wasteland Wing, the Iron Kick. Okay, this is the one that has a second place under Dark Humor, Yeet of Faith. So I like that one, except yeet is not a word in my vocabulary. That's my daughter's vocabulary. And not that she says it all the time, but the first time I heard it, I had to go to her for an explanation. And it's just, these fucking kids have all these words now that not only is it a word that doesn't need to be reinvented, but it's pluralized in a way that it shouldn't be. So, like, one of my favorite things is, oh, that's fire. Like, okay, that's like an incomplete sentence. Like, it just bothers me grammatically really badly. Yeah, yeet of faith is good. I like that. It's just not a word that's in my vocabulary. Send it and pray. Close. Did I name it? Or I just got ideas from this? I think I... Okay. The Bad Decision. OSHA violation. There ain't no OSHA in this world. That's why it's a great place. Lunch now, think later. The lawsuit. No lawsuits in this. We brought back dueling, so you don't need lawyers. Showy arena style. Crowd pleaser. Sky Shredder. The Apex. It's not tall enough for an Apex. Death from above. Okay, that's not bad. It needs to be taller, though. It's like a down ramp. Thunder Leap. The Overkill. The Yeet. Oh, interesting. The last one that was suggested is the one that I'm actually picking. Rampage. Skyhook. Kickflip. Air Raid. And what I'm going to call it is the Big Send. So I'm going to put a sign up here. It's going to be the Big Send on it. And I want to create something, hopefully this morning, that also you could stand here and has like a fucking loop through it, right? Like it's just visual completely, but just like a freaking loop that if you don't make the jump, you crash into that, and then you got issues with that. Rust Catapult. Yeah, that's definitely one that's got to be made of trash, So this is my first attempt. So we're going to put another one. I'd like for it to be about that tall and do the same thing, and then we're going to put something across it. It'll be cool. I'm making this out of garbage, Yeah, the Big Send, I like that. Which is kind of a modern term, too, So I figured let's do this instead of getting some other vehicles, because I still have about 10 vehicles that I don't have cards for. They haven't played some of these vehicles that I played with Marty. So we're probably going to use and I'm going to make the teams ahead of time. So I'm going to make 5 teams, and they're appropriate. So I'll probably do the 2 Japanese teams. I'll probably do I'm gonna make 2 cars for everybody. I'm not bringing over 50 cars. I'm just bringing over 10. That's more reasonable for me. We can do Hayabusa and Flowering Fubuki and that sort of thing. So No, it's all about the narrative, anyways. Who gives a fuck who wins? Like, if I wanted to play games to win, I'd keep playing DBA. I don't really care. Okay, so this, we're going to put it here at the apex. Actually, let me go ahead and write on it. This writes really well on this, by the way. This soft lead pencil. I've gone back to using mechanical pencils from, man, I used to use the hell out of them in college when I was taking notes, and then I just went to using Sharpies for everything. The problem with Sharpies is, even though they're permanent, they wipe off things sometimes. And then you can't use one to like write on like a plastic lid or something, because it'll wipe off and you got a mess on your hands. Literally, you have a mess on your hands. All right, and we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of reinforcing there. All this is going to be painted black, and it's going to look great. It's going to look appropriate. It's not going to look great. You don't want it to look great. It needs to look like, put together by convicts. Next time you ask GPT for a name, ask it to give you a few using Spanish or whatever foreign language you think might sound good for it. Well, that's the other thing. So I could put together a British team now, right? I have enough vehicles for, certainly for 2 vehicles, if we're talking about 27 pointers. So I'm probably going to do a British team, a German team, the Japanese team, the Urban Brothers, Rednecks, and who else? Yeah, something like that. Girls? Do you have do you have two girls other than the Bomber? The Bomber, I don't think is a 27 pointer, and that would pull Fubuki. Yeah, I'm just taking a little break from the cars because I got too many, and it's not like they're not satisfying to do. It's not like I'm not happy with how they turn out. They turn out really well, or I'm happy with them anyways. Well, I've seen other people's car builds, and I'm not like, man, theirs are a lot better than mine, which is fine. I love seeing. I mean, there's this one guy that does World War II stuff that I love his shit because it's like, man, I like your stuff better than the stuff I'm doing. Okay, time to turn mine up to 13. I like that. He's a nice guy. I don't know him personally, but I like people to challenge me. We don't want to play a game that looks like crap. Okay, we're not doing this to play a game that looks like crap. And I don't know if games in Britain look better than they do here, but all the stuff that you see at the conventions, I mean, they've got some stuff that's just fucking gorgeous. Okay, and the perfect thing about it is, look how it tapers in. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I want to take something small like this, and we're going to put sides on it. Right? I got a whole bag of these fuckers. Where's my fuckers at? I got a whole bag of these things somewhere. So it's cool to finally use this stuff. This is going to look extraordinary. And hopefully, I'm not doing it for this, but hopefully, it appeals to you guys. It's something that, I mean, I'm not trying to motivate you, but I see stuff all the time that I'm like, man, it is just too awesome for me not to take a shot at that. I know what I'm looking for. I just gotta find it. Oh, you know what? I'll be right back. Literally a moment. Let's try some. Don't know if I like it. We'll put spikes on the back of this, just so it looks aggressive, instead of just being a dirt mound. I need to remember to bring my hot glue gun with me in case something breaks off. I mean, yeah, I mean it's sturdy enough. And then, oh, we need something bigger than that. Man, it's pretty close to being flush across. That's nice. Okay, but this is this. I think this is the size for my nameplate, so we don't want to use that. We don't want to use it. Oh, geez, this came off the rails. Damn IKEA thing. All right. There we go. Let's see what we have that's using a piece of wood that we don't really use. I've had this stuff for 30 years. Yeah, we're gonna make a bigger sign, but we want like a reinforcement piece, and I wouldn't even mind too much if it was balsa wood. I don't really like using balsa wood for stuff. It's a little too. I was gonna say fruity. It's a little too. Yeah. Foam like. Okay. Man, I need to put in my order with the. What's that called? Sponsorship. I don't like sponsorship. It sounds like I'm gonna be fucking dishonest or some shit like that. It's somebody I've gotten stuff from before, and I just haven't decided what I'm gonna get. And I don't know whether it's because they thought I gave them a positive review on the stuff that I got from them. I mean, I don't go and give positive. I don't go and give reviews so I can like, man, maybe these people will send me shit. I just, I tell it like it is. I mean, there's no reason to be ugly, like this guy's an idiot or something. I mean, obviously we're not going to do that, but, just being honest. Now, I don't want the sign to be that size. I want the sign to be bigger. But we have some reinforcement there for the bigger sign that we put on there. Okay, and we're probably going to, so if we do something like, let's say we're going to use this piece of wood for the sign, it could be up here kind of thing. It could be that sort of thing. Okay. Okay, this. Let's do a couple of these. I'm going to use the ones that don't have any color on them. Actually, I could use these, and they're double-ended. How are they compared finish-wise? Oh, here we go, fumbling things again. How will they compare to these? Well, these are a lot smoother, but these will work. Well, these I would only be able to use one side. And this one has this cute little details that we can use for, they look like they would be on the bottom of a staircase. Teaming up with, well, I mean, it's not a ton of stuff, but it's enough to showcase more of their things. And they paint up really well. And the material is like super sturdy. It's like definitely made for gaming. So. Okay. I don't ask for shit like that. I mean, I know that people that are in this hobby, they're just getting by. That's why I just assume. I've worked at a hobby store before. It's, it's. This is what I want to use. I don't know that I don't have. I want to make sure I have more though. Oh fuck it. Let's just do this. Okay, and I don't want it to look too professional. Let's cut it about here. Ooh, I can feel the heat off that hot glue gun. That one's going to be about there. Now, I may actually use super glue for this, because I don't... Let's go small, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Don't get crazy. I didn't want it to be the same one. Like, let's make two separate ones. So we'll go right under it. Yeah, I decided not to go to the hobby store, the hobby show in Jacksonville. I don't need more stuff. You know, I'd rather spend the day doing this, put something together. Maybe it'll motivate me to build something else for this. It was an IPMS show called JaxCon. It was the first one I went to last year. It was the first one I'd ever been to, and I was so impressed. But I'm like, look, here's the reality. It's going to consume all my day. I don't need more things. And it's not like there's $2 items there. There's like, if I'm lucky, 10, 5.5 if I'm really lucky. Like, I don't need more stuff. Now, what else could I'm not enjoying the stuff that I need, that I have. So here we'll have this one go across 3 of them, and then the bottom one just across 2. Except 3 aren't going to line up on there really well. All right, let's do it the same way, except we're going to have the split. See, we have an overlap there. Let's have these 2 together. Like here, we'll have this one on the bottom, just so they're not the same. These 3 line up pretty well. So yeah, I don't need more shit, I run the risk, not to sound like a germaphobe, but I run the risk of getting sick. It's cold. There's a lot of people that aren't taking care of themselves. I don't want to get sick by, running into 500 people. It's not the reason not to go, but it's an added reason not to go. I don't get sick very often, but I'm not in big crowds. I don't try to avoid big crowds. I just don't live in a place that's very metropolitan. And I don't have to bring any more hobbies that have like any more models that have instructions that are falling apart and are toxic. What happened here? All right, well, that's drying. Shouldn't take long. Let's see how these spikes work. All right, so let me get. Papa Green, you need to use glue for this. Let me get my punch. This one might be a little too big. Yeah, well, I was just going to go there and look around for a couple hours. So do I really want to spend 4 hours in the car for 2 hours there? No, I'm okay. You know. I know this is awfully big, but I know it's going to close in on itself. It's too big. All right. It was handy. It was already connected to that. Use the big drill bits compared to the other ones. I may not do this. I just see how this looks. Well, I have to glue it in, that's for sure. Hell, you don't have to drill it in, just punch it. All right, man. Have a good one. Thanks for coming by. I wanna. I don't need to dig these so damn deep. It's just. There we go. I like that better. Let's use these double-sided ones. I can get two of them out of each one. Might find something to do with the middle pieces. We'll save them. And this is pretty durable. I mean, you can make this out of styrofoam, but then you got to worry about, people ham fisting it. Let's use some stuff we don't use enough. Mainly because it sucks. let's try to use some stuff that sucks. I mean, this doesn't need to be very durable. It's going to be relatively gentle with it. I'm not even gonna glue this in. Well, I got one thing that's kind of been sitting on the sidelines. I'm going to make a building out of it. I think I've shown you guys before. If not, I'll do it now. Just like I made the cantina. I have this piece of packaging. So we're going to do some kind of a building with it as well. Looks like a roundhouse or something. This is just packaging for inside something. Obviously, this side's not very useful. This side is. We'll cut the edge of this down. It's just spray it black. Not getting much of a It's alright if that gets dinged up a little bit. Keep you from poking your damn self, too. Let's put this one in first. I've never seen these X-Acto knives like unscrew themselves out so much as these do lately. in retrospect, should have done this first. Boy, you're being a little bitch. There we go. Doesn't need to go in much. Just give the illusion that this thing is. Don't leave your children loose at this place. This is not a theme park. And sometimes you can get carried away, like getting too many ideas online. Like, man, let me get some other ideas. Just start doing stuff, And the next one you do, you could improve on that. It's basically like free materials. Three more? Yeah, that's enough. We don't need more spikes than that. Just give the idea that this is an unfriendly thing. Yeah, like this is loose. Like, I'm not putting that much pressure on. I don't understand why this thing loosens itself. I didn't remember that used to be the case. Back in the 80s. It's not even. Nope, nope. Good. We don't want it even. I'm probably going to paint the sign on the ground, then glue it on there. Painting it out here is like painting ass. So I just put this thing away for now. perfect. And we got some overage here. Let's see if we can just cut that off and reduce it a little bit. I'm telling you, hot glue gun, man, is really, I mean, sure, it's not the most durable thing. It is just friendly. And I'm a fan of epoxy, but man, sometimes it is just unfriendly. Okay, that looks pretty damn good. And we are going to airbrush this. It'll make it quicker. I mean, we'll still do a dry brush finish, but all right. Let's get some of this corrugated metal that we have here. Okay, I don't want it to go over the edge because I can't take the back of this off. So let's just use it to fill in, say, this area here. So we're going to cut it about there. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut this all the way across. Hopefully I don't crimp it too much. Okay, so I don't mind having this backing paper on it because it's going to be not sticking over the side. So this first one's going to go here. How did that not cut all the way through? Okay. Oop, flattened it. Yeah, I really wouldn't mind going to the show if I could just like snap my fingers and bam, I'm there, but I don't want to waste my whole time doing it. A whole tank of gas. You know, just I wouldn't get this done for tonight. You know, I mean, they don't know I'm doing this. Yeah, let's put that there. Let's cut this down a little bit at this angle. cut closer to this, like right on it. Netflix sign on there. Perfect. Yeah. What I'm not a fan of is PVA. PVA just, I don't have time to wait, a long time. I don't find I don't find it's that forgiving. I mean, there's purposes for everything, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I know we'll find a use for this fucker. That was one of the things I would want to go to the show for, is to get another pair of like thin tweezers. Okay, that's on there pretty good. All right, let me get I guess another section of this and remove the top layer of it. This is going to be primarily like a dirt mound. Let's cut another section like that. Relatively easy to work with. And to think, I never did any hobbying until I had to, by taking my contacts out. Everything I did for years was in 20/20 vision. And once the 20/20 vision doesn't work, well, it never occurred to me to do this with additional magnification. And I don't know that you see any better. I mean, obviously you do, but the main reason is you enjoy the process a lot more. Like, when everything's magnified 6 times, because of being nearsighted, you get to enjoy like all the little nooks and crannies and stuff that things have. Really gentle. Run it into ruts. And then angle it a little bit. And you can catch some of the little bit of glue that's what it is, just a thin layer of glue that's holding that on there. I know who's really gonna like this. The wife. When I make shit out of nothing. Okay, we won't put any here. We'll put these in these 2 areas. across. I don't really want to make videos on how to do stuff because I'm a one-person operation. And there's nothing more frustrating than trying to do something for the good of the community, which I've gotten a lot of things for free, so I don't mind sharing. But then it doesn't turn out well. I can't watch it. I can't see that the video is in register while I'm doing this. I'm only one-person operation, so anything that involves filming, it's definitely the part I'm not the best at, and don't care to. I want to spend all my time editing a video. You don't have time to actually produce stuff. Like, we got to produce things. All right, we'll take this and we'll push this up against it. Something else I wouldn't be able to do if I was doing DVA stuff. And I don't have anything against DVA. It kept me from doing anything other than it. Well, I mean, I wanted to have a new army every time there was a convention. I wanted to run a new army. It's self-imposed. All right, that side's good. Let's taper this down. Where do I have a pair of scissors? I know I got a pair of scissors around here somewhere. That make that particular cut a little quicker. I mean, the painting of this ought to be really fast, other than waiting for the primer to dry. This thing get twisted a little bit. See, this should make it quicker. So let's see. We can. And I should not damage this as much as when I'm modifying it. That's perfect. God bless the hot glue gun, man. And just to think, I've only had one for a couple of years now. Now, one video I would like to do is compare all of the primers. The One Shot, the Viejo, and the Skinnle Riz, whatever the hell it's called. Like a disease. The Badger one. The Viejo one, the Badger one, and the Ammo one. All in black. We don't do other colors. Sorry. Alright, it's time to do one thing I like to say is step away from it so I can see it. Yes. Fucking amazing. Amazing! Yeah, I don't like this piece, though, however. Now I like it. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I gotta use little boy's room, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we need one more set here, and then we're going to put a few things here like an extra tire or something like that. Something, some wheels, some debris back here. Nothing crazy, but just something that that looks something different. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I want to do a couple billboards, but I feel like I need to print it out first. I want the billboard to be about this size. Yeah, about this size billboards. Just something out of atmosphere, so it starts looking like, I made a couple of them. Like, they just need to be printed out. So, I got that Mitch Rutabaga one I need to print that out. Unfortunately, I mean, this is a good game, but I think there's like 10, no, maybe it's more like 12 to 15 other modes of playing the game other than Death Race. And they're just flat. They don't do it for me. They don't do it for us. I mean, I've read through them and I'm like, oh, one with tanks. Like everybody has the same tank. I'm like, what's stupid? I mean, that's like, but I think within the Death Race format, there's a lot of different ways you can play Death Race. So, let's just cut this at an angle. And then we will cut this all the way to the edge of this one. I'm liking the scissors better. I'm not putting any pressure on it, about width on there. So take a little bit of width off. Okay. And take a little bit of height off of it. No, I don't really say it that way. Perfect. Almost too neat. Keep this stuff on there, the dirt and stuff, the compacted dirt. I don't usually do this, but if you're enjoying this, send me a like, man. I hate finding out when somebody's like, oh man, I wish somebody did videos on something. I'm like, dude, I got hundreds of them. Oh, I didn't see them. How did you not see them? How did you not see them? Okay, is this the last one that we have that is, yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is. So, okay, we'll go there, and this actually worked really well. Go ahead and put it kind of flush. And then we still don't want to, I mean, this is basically free material. We don't want to be like wasteful with it. I'm not trying to save the earth or anything. It's just stupid to waste shit. Nothing satisfying about being wasteful. Yeah, so this is gonna be all the way around. This corrugated metal, this background, the story of the big send, and they put this corrugated metal here to keep this dirt in place. Kind of like the original. I think the original Great Wall is actually compacted earth. Okay. This is actually going to take a long time to paint because I want it to look good. Now I don't know if this is going to be worth a damn in playing, but This could be something you use as the finish line also. You know? Okay, so we got that. We're not gonna put it down here. We're not gonna put corrugated there. I don't think I'm gonna put it there. I might as well put the corrugation down here as well. So and we're not going to build another one of these. I mean, this is going to be the only one that we do. Well, I mean, with this door stopper. If I don't mind getting another door stopper, do something different. But this is going to be unique. Okay. What, did I do it the fucking opposite? No, I did not do it the opposite. I wish this corrugated had been a little bit tighter pattern, but it is what it is. You know, it's not 1/72, it's 1/64, so I got a little bit of play with that. Okay. And I'm probably going to put some little pieces of wood over this. Like a fucking door or something like that. But I don't want to do that until, not that you can climb in there, but just fucking trash, you know. Man, I almost don't want to do that. It's almost like too neat. Well, let's do it. We can take it off later. Yeah, I ain't got time to make videos of how to paint stuff. If I do that, then I have this expectation of getting whatever number of views. And, you know, because it's basically slowing down the process of whatever it is that I'm building or whatever it is that I'm being creative about. I'm not going to get as much of it done because I'm making a video. Assuming it even turns out okay, the video part. And then I'll have this expectation, well, I didn't get this done, so, well, at least I got a lot of views. And then, you know, people are just, they're quirky. We all have a lot of stuff going on, and, you know. Okay, we got that. I brought another soda in. Yeah, probably fucking drink it. Let me get some water, because I'm talking and we're drying out. Okay. So same thing on the other side. We can't use that one. Oh no, are we out? Nope. No. It's cut a little bit bigger than you need because you can always come back and trim it down. Cut it too small, you're fucked. Okay, I think that I want to cut some of this off so we can push it up against this a little bit more. And here's the crazy thing. I could tear this apart and reuse it. You know, because it's just hot glue gun. Not that I'm going to do that. Like, I don't want to like undo all the effort that I did. I say if it didn't turn out to my liking, but man, this is super forgiving. Let's cut this down a little bit more up here. All right. Now let's go look in the scrap pile and see what we have. Like, this isn't the scrap pile enough, but scrap pile would be over here. Let's see what we have here. Well, that's empty. Just run interference. Okay, these wheels are definitely useless in a piece of shit. So it wouldn't hurt anybody's feelings if we just remove it. Hey, I don't know much about. You know much about HMHS Charybdis? Well, she's a Dido class cruiser. Turns out my great aunt's fiance was on and went down with her. Oh man, I didn't think she sank. Yeah, she was a Dido class cruiser. Had to have gone down in the med, I would think. No, I don't. I mean, I don't. I think. Dido class cruiser. I don't know if it was the first batch or the second batch. They did a second batch that that removed some of the guns. You always wonder, like, you know, they'll make something that has like 12 guns, 12 5.25s. Basically, it has as a main armament the secondary armament that's on the King George V class battleships. Is their high altitude anti-aircraft gun, dual purpose type of thing. 5.25 inch. And King George V had those. They're basically a British Atlanta class. Although I think the Atlanta had one more turret than them. I don't know that any of them had more than 10 guns. I think the main ones had 10, and then they came back and did a second batch with 8. And I don't know why it's 5.25 inches. Maybe in millimeters it's like a straight number, you know, not like something weird. But I did not have one. I had Dido class cruisers. I think I had 2 Dido class cruisers. I think what they were called. Cleopatra was one of them. Because Cleopatra was one of the ships that was in the second battle of Sirte Gulf. Naiad maybe was the other one. Actually, Charybdis might have actually been sunk by German destroyers in the Bay of Biscay or something like that. Shit, I gotta look that up now. I think that's how you say the name of that ship. Charybdis. One of them Greek names. HMS Charybdis. Charybdis. Great camouflage scheme on her. Torpedo boats. That sucks. In the English Channel. Did he survive? They went down with her. Operation Tunnel. It was sunk with severe loss of life by German torpedo boats in an action off the English Channel, October 43. This gun had also been selected as secondary armor for the King. Yeah, I don't make this shit up. I just remembered stuff. Okay, Charybdis and another Dido-class cruiser, HMS Scylla, were armed with 4 twin quick-fire 4.5-inch Mark III guns instead of the 4. Oh, so she did not have. So she had the 4.5-inch armament, which that was a secondary armament that was on the Renown and Queen Elizabeth. These 4.5-inch guns have been originally intended for the Danae class cruisers as part of an upgrade program. Charybdis differed from Scylla by having a single quick-fire 4-inch Mark IV gun mounted. Charybdis is the name of a sea monster, usually mentioned alongside Scylla, the name given to another Dido-class cruiser in the idiom between Scylla and Charybdis. She was laid down yards in 1939 on Force service. She was in Operation Pedestal, okay. Covers the Salerno landing. Operation Tunnel is sinking. Late 43, British authorities were aware of the approach of the German blockade runner Münsterland. Sounds like a place that sounds like a cheesy place. Münsterland, which was carrying an important cargo of latex. You know, when you're raping everybody in Europe, you need to be safe about it. And strategic materials. The Germans had a well-rehearsed procedure for escorting such vessels. British reacted by executing Operation Tunnel, a standard operation whereby available ships would attempt to intercept. Of the planning of this operation, Lieutenant Commander Roger Hill voices reservations to senior staff. Okay, she was with fleet destroyers Grenville and Rocket. Rocket's an old ship. Got to be an R-class, World War I. And 4 Hunt-class destroyers. Calling Hunt-class ships destroyers is a bit of a stretch. Destroy escorts. Okay, and Münsterland was escorted by 5 Type 39 torpedo boats. I have no idea what the hell that is. Is that a Nest boat? Oh, okay, no. These are like the T1 series. Okay. Chargers pick up the convoy at a radar range of 7 nautical miles, but did not intercept radio transmissions. Limborn. Charybdis was hit on the port side by 2 torpedoes out of a salvo of 6 fired by T-23 and T-27. Yeah, 2 torpedoes. It's a small cruiser. Wow, that sucks. I was about to say, did you know him? No. You're not that old. It was your aunt's who? Aunt's fiance. You have an older aunt. Let's remove the back of this. same thing with this. These are like really real rubber tires. All right. So first thing we're going to do is let's glue this bastard down. He was a leading steward from the info I found. Not sure what that means, but if they carried Eisenhower to Salerno, I wonder if he met him. Yeah, I don't know. I assume this is on the British side of your family? The Anglo part of your family. We'll leave this area. We'll have it off to one side. We don't want it on both sides. You're trying to cover every single space with something. It looks awkward. Need to be more artsy than that. I'm going to take this. We're going to put that there. And I want to say there was another one. Yep, this one right here. Oh, these two. Okay. Again, it's kind of hard to see how this is shaping up because it's like all these weird colors. You know, once you prime everything black, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I like how that looks. All right, so. What do we got here? We got all these pieces of wood that, yeah, all naval this side. Still need to track down the ship your grandfather was on. You have no idea, or you have a clue, or I don't have anybody in it. The closest that I have somebody that's been in the service of any nation is, I don't know how we'll find this out now, but my dad said that had a great grandfather that was a colonel in the Spanish Army. This would have been like 1880s or something like that. Don't know who he is. Don't know if it's true. I assume it was true, but I didn't make shit up. All right, let's try. We got enough of this stuff. Let's cut a corner of this off. Bip! All right, now that'll be the angle that this thing sits on. Bip! See this, when you have craft, I don't know if you guys have craft shit in school in Britain, right? But, you know, in elementary school, they would do these stupid art, right? They would have these stupid projects like, okay, bring in like magazines and articles out of them, and you would do, make a collage or some bullshit like that. Or, bring like spray paint and like, and cardboard containers of stuff, and they would just like make stuff like, dude, like make real shit, like don't just make believe crap. So it'd be like all these things that are like spray, just wasting resources, just Stupid shit, you know. Make something useful. HMS Scylla was funded by the people of Aberdeen in 1940 Warship Week. Huh. All I know is a minesweeper trawler, and it was taken to Iceland after the war. Man, there was a bunch of those. There was a bunch of those type things. Okay, I'm going to glue this fucker like this. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know how we're going to paint it, but it's a bit of variety of stuff. And yes, I'm enjoying the hell out of doing this. It's just a piece of scrap just up there. That's enough. Don't need to go crazy. Don't need to go ape shit crazy. And this is, like I said, I'm going to do the sign afterwards. I'll glue it on afterwards. Because, painting it up here is going to be unfun. Unfun. Let's cut a couple more of these. Like I said, I'm going for the whole Borderlands kind of look. A little bit. think this is quite enough. So it's going to have a bigger sign than that. But we'll attach that at the end. And the bigger sign, wow, that's big. Can we use one of these and just cut it down? We got lots of this pre-cut wood thing. I got this decades ago. Shit, I got half a mind though. Make it like this. I don't know if I'm going to paint it afterwards. Yeah, something like just haphazardly put. I don't want some proper sign. Like, this is just like fucking thrown together. Like, you know, it'd be cool. What? If these guys would take a flying leap off of, okay, that'd be pretty cool too, wouldn't it? I don't think I'm going to go any lower than this, the edge of this thing. Yeah, I'm going to make it crick crock, like it's got two pieces connected. Like some idiot didn't measure things correctly. It's not going to be a fancy looking sign. So it'll be the in the middle and it'll be big send on this side. God, I love this hot glue gun shit. I mean, this shit is really enjoyable to do. The Leander class Scylla visited Aberdeen. Okay, so that must be like a post-war one. Regularly until it was scrapped. HMS Scylla, now the name of the Aberdeen Naval Cadet Station. Well, you know, British ships have the best names. I've said it before. They really do. Okay, so this thing is ready to prime. We're priming this fucker black. We're going to paint this like it's compound earth. I'll be right back. Changed my mind. There's one more thing I need to do to it. I could probably use one of these. I'll put the on its own piece of wood. So it's going to be like the here in the middle and then big send. And it's going to look like, whitewash paint or something like that. It's going to be, rough looking, All right, be right back. All right. I think I'm going to take some pictures before we go and prime this. I think I need to stay on this. I've got to print out the signs because I can make them whatever size I want. I want to print them out before I go and put them on backing, and that's not really important. This is the thing that we're going to use tonight. So this is. Let's put a finished car out here. What are we going to? Which one are we going to use? We got to be careful. We don't want this thing to fucking come down. That would ruin my day. Let's put Nova paint out here. And since we're going to take a photograph, I like using the back side of this mouse pad. Because I'd like to have some, okay, like what did it look like before kind of thing. Because only experience really kind of makes you realize whether you're on the right track or not. All right, so we need to go prime this thing. So that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to cut this video off because I could put it on pause. I don't want to put another one. It's not going to be anything exciting. We're just going to paint this thing black and go from there. But thanks for coming by, folks. Don't forget give me a like if you like this. And